Hmm. Why is it doing that? Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to class. I am early. This is not class time. I don't want anybody freaking out and thinking they wrote the wrong time or anything like that, because you absolutely did not. I wanted to take a moment and make a video that just focused on the supplies needed for the class. I want to kind of talk about those a little bit, get you familiar with them. I think it's important, especially if you are interested in kind of pursuing this type of craft. I think it's good to know some of the things that I've learned. And I haven't been doing this real long, so these are just things that I've learned along the way so far. Some of these things may change as I grow in my foam crafting, but I wanted to share with you what I've learned so far. And also, I have a little mistake that I need to fix with you guys really quick, so I wanted to do that before we went live with the class later today. All right, so I'm just going to start going over the supplies that you're going to need for this class. So one of the most important things you're going to need is styrofoam. And for this particular class, you're going to need a piece of styrofoam that's cut into kind of a square shape. And I've got the measurements there in the pattern, but you'll need a piece of styrofoam for that. And then you're going to need a styrofoam ball. And like I told you guys, some of you, I think, that had asked, I wanted to show you, because I'm totally serious. I'm not even joking. I am using a styrofoam cooler that I have cut pieces out of for my characters. So really and truly, I am using a styrofoam container. You can do that. I recommend that you also, as an alternative, could do like those styrofoam sheets that are in my Amazon storefront, or just on Amazon in general. I am going to stop for a second and check, just because I want to make sure that I am live, and because I'm not seeing anybody at all pop on, and I had thought maybe my daughter might catch this while I'm on. So I'm just going to check really quick, and I am in there, so that's good. Okay. I see it. That was probably me showing up too. All right. Well, so I want to just go over the supplies real quick with you. And like I said, the first thing you're going to want is a piece of styrofoam that is about, I think it's 2 centimeters wide. Or deep, thick. Yeah, 2 centimeters thick. And then you're going to want like a styrofoam ball, a small styrofoam ball. And these, I think, are 1.6 inches. I'm actually going to measure it on here. And I've just taken another one of those size and cut it in half. Let me move my coffee out of there. Cut it in half just so that I could see how big this will measure. So it's 1.5-ish right at. And this does not have to be exact. If you have a little bit different size that you found that will work, that's perfectly fine. You just want a small ball for the body that we're going to be making. So that's really all you're going to need for this class. You're going to need the pattern pieces you want, and I want to talk about those here in just a second. You're going to need foam craft sheets, and you can get these at your local craft store. Most Walmarts will carry these. Not all of them. It kind of depends on your area. I think they've taken some of the crafting stuff out of some of the Walmarts. It really just depends on how heavily your area crafts and things like that. Like, I've lived in a couple of states where that particular Walmart didn't even have a sewing aisle, which is crazy to me that there was no sewing material in a Walmart, but it does happen. Okay, so you're going to need some craft sheets. For this particular class, you're going to need a tan or a yellow for your bee, for the body and the head. And then you're going to need some black as well as some white, which is in this pack. And I wanted to show you, you can get them in different sizes. It doesn't matter. I will tell you, pay attention on Amazon if you're ordering from Amazon, because these little packs right here can be, if you don't pay attention to the sizing that they're doing, you'll think you're getting a good deal, and you're actually just getting one of these little packs that you can get for like $5 at Walmart or your local craft store. But the tan material, the tan color is what I'm going to be using today, and I'll be showing you some ways to kind of distress it to give him those that shading feature you can kind of see around and on his body a little bit. So I'll be showing you some of that. Okay. And then let me put this aside really quick because I kind of like to keep up with what I'm telling you. You're going to want a ruler. These, I just got this one recently. I got it at Walmart. It's a metal ruler. It's not my favorite. I have one that I like even better. It's actually this one right here. I like this one because it's really thin and really flat. But this one from Walmart works just fine. I've been using it lately just to see how I like it. It's just got more of a smooth, rounded end, and I really like that sharp end for some reason. I think it's just what I've become accustomed to. I also really like the little ones for smaller measurements. This is really handy, and I use these a lot. I use these in my other craft projects as well when I'm working with felt or fleece. I will use use this and flip this over and just like mash onto that material, because that metal will cool off that hot glue that I'm using to set really quickly. So that's kind of what I prefer, but you can just use what you have. I've used a plastic ruler plenty of times. I have one on standby in case I've lost mine. Another thing you're going to want is something to cut on. I don't recommend cutting on your coffee table or your desk or another porous surface. I've got a self-healing mat. They even carry them at Dollar Tree, the really small ones. I like this size. This is 12 by 12 inch. It's just really portable. I can move it around as I need to on my table, but I highly recommend getting a self-healing cutting mat for projects like this. I use mine all the time in all kinds of different crafts. You're going to want some X-Acto knives. I wanted to talk about these because these are my favorite right now. These are absolutely fabulous for cutting styrofoam. These are, I've used my kitchen knives plenty of times in the past. They tend to make it a little rougher cut. They're not as clean. These X-Acto knives are phenomenal. You can find them locally everywhere. Hardware stores, Walmart, craft stores. I don't even remember where I got these. I think I got them in 2 different places. But these are really cool because as you move them up, they have these little tiny lines in them. And as the blade gets kind of dull, you just kind of pop, you apply pressure and it'll pop off that. And then you start it over with another sharp edge, which is really cool. But I recommend both sizes. As you can see, sorry for the clicking if it's really loud, but I really like this for cutting bigger projects or deeper cuts. And then this is more precision. You'll see me kind of go back and forth using both most of the time in this type of craft. And then this is the other type of X-Acto knife that I prefer. I use all 3 of these interchangeably when I'm cutting out my styrofoam pieces. My craft foam, I will use one or the other of these. I like this one because I can turn corners really, really easy and make smooth rounded cuts, as opposed to the shape of this blade. I was going to say something else. Oh, one thing with your X-Acto knife to make sure of, because I've had this problem and it dawns on me and it happens all the time. So when your X-Acto knife starts to get dull, it will not cut smoothly. You'll find yourself kind of struggling or getting hung up or it's not going all the way through. That's when you know you need to change your blade, and you'll be blown away by how good it cuts again, because it's like butter at that point. Let me go ahead and put these away so they don't roll off my table. And then also you're going to want some scissors. I have just a pair of scissors that I use for my crafting. I got these at Walmart. They're just a medium weight scissor, meaning they medium duty. Like you have your light duty, which typically cuts paper, and then you have a medium weight, which can do kind of paper and foam and fabric and things like that. And then you have like a heavier that'll cut through harder materials. And this is just a medium weight. It's not my sewing scissors though. You want to have sewing scissors set aside for your sewing stuff. I was told that by many a seamstress. So anyway, and then I like to have a little pair of scissors, and I have a couple. I have a pair over here that I got with my Cricut a Cricut kit a long time ago. I really like this pair right now. I am left-handed, and I'm really particular about the way things feel in my hand. So, but I really like these, and I think I got these at Hobby Lobby or Walmart. I'm not really sure. These are wooden nail tools. I love these. You can use them to poke and to make holes in your projects, as well as they're good for manipulating the glue and really like getting it in there in crevices and stuff like that. In place of using your finger, I really like using these for lots of different things. So, these also came from Walmart. And they sell them, you don't have to get this exact kind. They sell them in a little zipper pack and all different stuff I've had. And then you could even just use a toothpick if you don't have this or are not able to get that. I also recommend a marking tool of some time. I love to use a pencil, especially on my darker material because it kind of shows up. You just want to be mindful about that side being on the inside of your projects because you cannot get rid of that pencil all the way. And then this is a heat disappearing marker or pen, and I absolutely love this. I use this on tons of projects, and I get mine on Amazon. They come in a 4-pack, or they come in blue, red, or pink. It ends up being black and white, and the only 2 colors I ever use are blue and red because the white doesn't show up very good on dark stuff, and the black I just haven't had really good success with it. Oh, disappearing. It's not as good at disappearing all the way, I found on certain projects. But these are really, really great. I highly recommend getting the heat disappearing, especially working with a heat project. So you'll be very pleased when you see that all your marks go away. I also recommend brushes as well as paint brushes, some small angled whatever paint brushes. If you'd like if you're going to be doing some of your, like the liner brush would be a great one if you're going to use that. But I kind of hack that and I like to cut corners a little bit with that when I can. So I just use a dotting tool. But brushes, I got this set right here at Walmart, and it's great. I love it because I can blush those cheeks with this side, and it especially on the smaller projects, it kind of acts like a blush brush, and it's just great. And then I like this for getting into those crevices and harder to reach places. So I really like that brush right here. And this one right here, I love the angled brush. Again, same benefit as the one over here. But I really like these brushes. Like I said, I got them at Walmart. They're the brand on this one is Eco Tools. This was like $9 for the set, which is a little expensive for me usually, but I really do like them, and they're sturdy. Alternatively, Dollar Tree has brushes. I really like this brush and then another angled brush. I like the small angled brushes whenever I can find them, so they're really great. And then I also like dotting tools, and this comes as a set on Amazon, which I have this set in my storefront. You do not have to order it from me if you don't want to. It doesn't hurt you or mess you up in any way. But I like this because of the different sizes of the dots you'll see. This to me is fabulous. This as well is really great for pushing and pulling your paint and your chalk that you'll be using. I really like this side for that. I don't use it as often though, but I really love these dotting tools. Alternatively, you can get one of these at your local big box store. Dollar stores carry them. This has 2 sizes. I use this all the time. It's one of my favorite tools. It's my grab and go for sure. And then, like I said, I love having this as a backup for the option of the multiple different sizes. You're going to want some blush. I like a pinky pink, but you can kind of lean toward a reddish pink. I definitely recommend a little bit darker pink rather than a really light color. I have a really light color and I never, ever, ever, ever use it because it's too light. This one's by e.l.f. I think I got it at Walmart. I would not use this one because it's just so light. Now, the time I would use it is if I was doing it on brown skin or a brown material, then I would want to use that lighter. It contrasts very, very well. I have made some little stands for me. I saw this on somebody that I was watching, learning how to make these different types of characters that I've been working on. And I thought it was a fabulous idea. So I would like to recommend it to you guys and pass it along for anybody that's interested. This is just some thread spool thing that I flipped upside down. And I covered it in craft foam and glued it down. And then this was just a embellishments. It had flowers in it, like paper flowers, and I wanted more weight. So I just added these beads instead, put hot glue in the top so they don't really move. And then left the lid off because I want that concaved area, and then covered it in craft foam and glued it down as well. And these are great when you're trying to push down your hot or warm foam onto your ball. It really helps you hold things in place and have them not slide and move around. So I highly recommend creating something like that. You will find that it changes the ability you have to work on your projects. Now I want to talk about glue. Obviously you're going to need hot glue gun and hot glue. I use them all the time. So in doing this, when I first started out, so this craft that I'm doing, the craft foam, there are a lot of characters that this actually originated, I'm not 100% sure, but I want to say it originated in Spain or Colombia or Mexico or something like that. And you can look it up. It's called, I'm probably going to butcher the wording and I'm so sorry, but it's called fofucas. And that's the feminine version. And then you have fofucos, which is the masculine version. So and I think the word stands for in English cuties. And so if you go look up fofucas, and it's spelled Fofucha and then S. If you go look that up on like Pinterest, you'll pull up all these adorable little foam characters and things like that. So you can see what people have made with this. And this is just now becoming kind of an interest in the US, but it's been really popular for a long time over there. And things that you can do with this are like cake toppers, and you can personalize party gifts, birthday gifts, communion type gifts and party stuff like decor, weddings decor, and I've seen them for all kinds of things, baby showers, baby rooms, it's just endless and absolutely adorable. And the reason I'm telling you this is because you can really take this and run with it. There's so many different things, especially those of you that are really into crafting for your side hustle or like extra income on the side, or craft shows, events and things like that. This is a whole separate thing that I think some of you are going to really find enjoyable and profitable. I really, really strongly believe that. And my goal is to give you guys as much information to help you be able to do this and make a profit on your end as much as possible. Because I want you guys bringing in an income or just making cute things for people. I have a friend who's pregnant, and I'm making something for her baby room. And then I have a friend who is an interpreter, a sign language interpreter, and I'm making him a gift that is going to be an interpreter. I'm also working on another character, and I'll show you. I'm not done yet. I shouldn't even be showing you, but I'm working on the face for that. And I am trying to learn as much as I can so that I can then teach and share with you guys and take all the hard work, all the hard stuff out of it. My goal is to I want to make the mistakes so that you don't have to make all the mistakes, if that makes sense. Because it sucks when you're trying to figure out, especially if you're watching something from a different country in a different language, and you don't know if the glue that they're using is going to be compatible with the glue you're using. So I have done the work. Sorry that took me all that to say this, but I've done the work and I have figured out the glues that I really like in using on this type of craft. So some of the ones that I've seen them use are this particular brand, which we do not have this brand per se in the US, but you can order it on eBay or something like that. And I like this brand, but I found a better option for me. And it's just personal preference. And I think that when you start doing these projects, you'll start kind of figuring out what your personal preference is. So I've tried like Gorilla Glue, the little Gorilla Glue. Did not care for it. It's very strong odor. That's another thing. If you're going to be using these glues, I recommend having a ventilated space that you can use a lot of these stronger smelling glues in. I've tried this Loctite, I think it is. No, this is super tight. But I got a lot of these at Walmart. I've gotten some of these at craft stores. I've ordered a lot of these online. And I've just kind of figured out what I like. I did not even use these. Once I figured out the one that I really liked, you can see a couple of these I didn't even open. And I'm probably going to take them back. I think I got these from Walmart. Somebody is calling me, even though I have my Do Not Disturb on. That's okay. And then I ordered these on Amazon. And these, I haven't even used these yet because it's like all of a sudden I figured out what I like. So I'm going to show you the one that I love. I got this at Walmart the other day. And I have been using it ever since, once I tried it out. The key with using super glue in this craft is it's as instant grab as possible. So the thing to look for when you're looking for glue is you're going to look for like 10-second bond or 10-second hold or fast grab. You want it to be within seconds. That way you're not having to sit there and hold it and hold it and hold it and hold it until it finally grabs and you can move on to the next piece. This right here has been the thing that has done it for me. And this one has a brush and a nozzle tip, and I absolutely love the brush. You will see me use this later today in our craft project because this has become my absolute fast favorite right here. And I'll just hold it up real quick to the camera. Make sure you guys can see it. And then alternatively, another one that I really like is I really like this, and I get this at Joann's. But you can also get it online. It's going to be more expensive when you order it on Amazon, but it is available. But this right here is by Beacon, and this is a cold silicone glue, I think is the way that you would call it. And when I say that, I'm not joking. Like, you'll notice if you get it on you, it feels very, very cold to the touch. And it grabs very quickly as well, but you don't have to worry about like the super glue. And whenever it dries, you can kind of get it like to string off of you. It's kind of more stringy. I don't know how to explain it, and this is a silicone glue. So I like this one a whole lot, and I do use this one. I just don't use it quite as much now that I have this one. I was using that one quite a bit. Another one that I've seen them use, I have not messed around with it, is rubber cement or cement glue, like shoe glue. These are things that are going to bond really quickly. So this is, like I said, another one that they use. That is all on the glue. Let's talk about one more thing, which is going to be, hold on just a second. Sorry, someone was calling me again. And the last thing I want to talk to you about is going to be the heating element that you're going to use. And I bought a heat plate, like a cook plate or whatever. I hated it. I thought it was going to work for me. I tried it one time and it looked like it was going to do a good job. The second time I used it, I burned my craft foam. So I don't recommend that. I'm actually going to take that off of my storefront. But what I've been using is my heat press. You do not have to use this, but this is what I have available to me. So I have been using my heat press, and I turn it on it's at 310, and it's going to count up. But the thing that is frustrating for me with using this is it beeps. So if you forget about it for a minute and you're doing something else, it'll scare the poop out of you. At least it does me. I've kind of gotten used to it now, so it's not scaring me as much. But it will startle you. But I like this because I like the size of the plate. I can lay my craft foam right on it. I can touch it and test it to know when it's ready, and I'll show you that in the video later today. But if you don't have access to something like that, I would recommend using an iron, like a clothing iron, which you can get very affordably at Walmart. I mean, they're like $9 for a very inexpensive one, and that's all you're going to need, especially if you're just starting out. And then I've seen other people, I've seen them use the tortilla plate where they make their hot tortillas on. I've seen people use those. I've seen them use the panini grills, things like that, or other types of grills, like I would think of George Foreman. I'm not about all that. I'm going to stick with either my heat press, or I'm going to use my iron, or one more thing that I've seen is the hair straighteners. So those are great for like your really tiny pieces or things like that you want to just get really quick. And you can control the heat on those hair straighteners. So I highly recommend, if you don't have this and you don't have an iron, but you do have a hair straightener, use your hair straightener. All right, I think that is it. Oh, no, it's not. One last thing I need to talk about. So I screwed up on the pattern pieces. I tried printing it out, and it prints out way too small, so I'm going to fix it. But in the meantime, I'm going to tell you a hack on cutting your pieces. So one other thing I want to say, because I just remembered that I wanted to tell you this, is don't throw away your scrap foam. Even if you have tiny, tiny pieces, you'll be surprised because you'll be able to use them for like hearts and noses and things like that. So I recommend, I know that's kind of a hoarder sounding thing, but really and truly, you're going to want to save the majority of your craft foam scraps. Okay, so pattern. All right, so what I was going to tell you is one of the ways that you can figure out how big of a piece of material you're going to need for your project, for your, like say for the head right now, is you're going to take your 2 fingers, and I'm going to do it on this side. So you'll take your 2 fingers and you're going to line it up on the side, and that is where you will mark your line. So 2 fingers wide on every edge, okay? So I want to make sure that I got 2 fingers on every edge, and that's how I know that I have enough material that's going to go around my piece. Alternatively, the one that we're working on today, the square, you will want about a 4.5 by 4.5 piece if you don't use the way that I just showed you to measure. All right, that is it. I will see y'all at noon Central Standard Time. And I hope this video was helpful. I tried to give you as much information as I could. I know it was probably a lot, but I really think that you'll be able to refer back to this and find some really good, useful tips, things that I've learned along the way so far that have helped me already in my journey in the craft foam. So I will see y'all at noon. I'm super excited, and yeah, have a great morning, and I'll see you shortly.